Did you eat yet? Did you eat yet? If you don't know what that means, you're missing one of the key features of natural, fluent English. Native speakers connect and reduce words in ways textbooks never teach, leaving many learners feeling lost when facing real-world conversations. In this video, I'll show you the 6 most important speech patterns that make English so hard to understand. Contractions, reductions, linking, elision, intonation, and fragments. For each pattern, I'll break down real examples that you hear every day. And in each section, I'll do some practice with you to get you started. Learn and master all 6 techniques, and you'll finally understand fast English without feeling confused when native English speakers talk. Hi, my name is Herbert Lee. I've been an English teacher for well over 20 years. When I first became an English teacher, I noticed many of my students were frustrated that they couldn't speak English fluently, even after years of study. So I spent a lot of time and money researching and developing better techniques and strategies to improve English fluency and develop great conversation skills. This channel shares a lot of this research so more people can benefit from it. In today's session, you will unlock the 6 things that native speakers do when they speak that make it difficult for English learners to listen and understand. Here is something I learned when I first started doing my research. How you hear English is closely related to how you speak English. Keep that in mind as I go through the 6 things. Have you ever noticed how native speakers never say, "I am going to the store"? They always say, "I'm going to the store." It's almost like they're allergic to saying the full sentence. Let's figure out why this happens. Contractions are really the first step to understanding fast speakers. They're those shortened forms where we combine words together, like don't instead of do not. These little shortcuts make English flow much faster and sound way more natural. The problem is, most English textbooks only teach you the basic contractions, so you never get taught any of this in regular English classes. Sure, they show you common ones like I'm and don't, but they leave out the real-world contractions that fill everyday conversations. Picture this scene from your favorite TV show. 2 friends meet at a coffee shop. "I'm going to be late for work," one says. "Don't worry, they won't mind," replies the other. Easy to spot those basic contractions, right? Most English learners recognize these. Now that you know the basics, let's dive a little deeper. In natural conversation, native speakers use advanced contractions that might surprise you. Ever hear someone say, "shouldn't have," instead of "should not have"? Or "y'all have," for "you all would have"? These complex forms appear regularly in everyday speech, but never show up in English lessons. Now let's practice together. I'll say 5 common contractions. First, slowly, then at normal speed. I'm, don't, can't, were, they've. Now say them with me. I'm, don't, can't, were, they've. Notice how they feel in your mouth. They're designed to make speaking faster and easier. The truth is shocking. When native speakers talk with friends or family, they use contractions almost 100% of the time. So someone who doesn't use contractions in casual conversation sounds extremely formal, maybe even robotic. It's like wearing a business suit to a beach party. Technically, it's correct, but definitely you're out of place. Contractions are just the beginning of understanding natural English speech. Think of them as the first level in a video game, the easiest part of understanding fast speech. Master these, and you'll discover even bigger challenges waiting for you. So, how can you train your ear and your brain to catch these contractions? One effective method is to listen to songs while looking at the lyrics. Find the words on paper or on the screen, then play the song and circle every contraction that you hear. Songs work perfectly because singers often emphasize contractions in a way that makes them easier to notice. This exercise will help you train your brain to recognize these patterns even when they fly by you in fast speech. If you're finding this video useful and would like more in-depth training, leave a comment below. Yes, I am interested. Just when you think you got the hang of contractions, native speakers throw another curveball at you. Imagine trying to understand "I'ma get you something nice" in real-time conversation. Sounds impossible, right? Yet millions of English speakers say these phrases exactly like this every single day without thinking twice. Welcome to the world of word reductions, where entire phrases transform into what sounds like completely different words. Word reductions change how words sound at their very core, creating verbal shortcuts that make speaking faster and more efficient. But the problem? You won't find these in any English textbook. Schools focused on proper pronunciation, but real English lives in these reduced forms. Let me show you some basic examples that you'll hear everywhere. Going to becomes gonna. Want to transforms into wanna. Got to changes to gotta listen. Got to changes to gotta. Listen for these next time you watch Friends or any American TV show. They're absolutely everywhere. The reductions get more complex too. When native speakers say, "What do you want to do?" in casual conversation, it comes out as, "What do you want to do?" Ever wonder how 5 separate words can compress into just 2 spoken units? No wonder it sounds like a completely different language. Now, let's practice together. Say these pairs with me. First, the proper textbook way, like you learned in English class, and then the natural spoken way. Want to, wanna. Got to, gotta. Going to, gonna. These reductions follow systematic patterns based on how our mouths move efficiently when speaking quickly. Once you recognize these patterns, you will hear them everywhere in natural speech. What makes this challenging is when reductions combine with other features of fast speech. "I'm going to get you something" becomes "I'm going to get you something." That's several speech patterns working together, not just simple reduction. Native speakers aren't being lazy or incorrect. They're being efficient with their language. If you listen to how people speak in their native language, you will find that they use reduction techniques as well. Understanding these patterns will dramatically improve your listening comprehension when engaging in real conversations. You can train your ear to catch these reductions by watching your favorite TV shows with subtitles. Pay attention when you see going to written, but you hear gonna from the actor. This technique works because you can see the standard form while hearing the reduced form at the same time. The beauty of this method is that it works with any show you already enjoy watching. Sitcoms are perfect since they show many natural, casual conversations. Start noticing how predictably these patterns appear. Gonna always means going to. Wanna means want to. These consistent transformations happen all the time in everyday speech. Next, we're going to talk about linking and elision. Those consistent transformations we've been talking about extend beyond individual words. Native speakers take speech simplification to the next level by blurring the boundaries between words completely. What sounds like one word to your ears might actually be 2 or 3 words melted together through some clever sound connections. Linking happens when the end of one word flows directly into the beginning of the next word. It's like a river flowing smoothly into a stream. The sounds merge naturally. Take night rate and nitrate. They sound exactly the same when spoken at normal speed. The T at the end of night connects smoothly with the R in rate. Nitrate, nitrate. But your brain uses context to figure out which one the speaker actually means. As words blend seamlessly, the boundaries you once noticed start to vanish. And this brings us to elision, where sounds completely disappear, especially those troublesome T's and D's between consonants. Let me show you how these work together. When native speakers say, did you, it becomes did you. The D and Y sounds blend, creating something new. Your textbook English doesn't prepare you for this. Listen to this sentence. I don't know what she wants. In natural speech, it transforms into, I don't know what she wants. The boundary between what and she disappears completely. Try saying these common patterns aloud. Not at all becomes not at all. 3 words that sound like one. Come on in becomes come on in. Feel how your mouth naturally wants to connect these sounds. Linking and elision aren't signs of laziness. They reflect the efficiency of natural conversation. Native speakers use these techniques to maintain quick and fluid dialogue, essential for effective communication in everyday situations. The hardest words to catch are small grammar words, ones that carry structure but little meaning. Words like to, the, and of often shrink to barely noticeable sounds or disappear entirely in fast speech. So how can you train your ear to hear this? Here's a simple 3-step method. First, listen to a short audio clip of natural English. Second, write down exactly what you hear, word for word. Third, check your version against the actual transcript, and then you'll notice what you missed. This encourages active listening and helps you become more aware of these patterns. Here's a tip. Don't look at the transcript before you listen to the audio. Listen to the audio, write down what you hear, and then look at the transcript. This practice works especially well with minimal pairs. words that differ by just one sound. Comparing nitrate with nitrate trains your ear to catch subtle differences that can completely change the meaning. Early in my teaching career, I developed a course called Power Pronunciation. In every lesson, I shared minimal pairs, words that differ by just one sound. Then I used them to teach students the small difference. These students improved their listening and pronunciation very quickly, which proves what I said earlier. How you hear English is closely related to how you speak English. All the patterns I'm sharing today aren't random changes. They follow patterns that you can learn to recognize. The more you listen with awareness of these patterns, the more your brain will automatically decode them for you. And with awareness comes understanding. I hope you're enjoying this episode and will continue to the very end so you can learn all 6 things that native speakers do to make it challenging for English learners like you. I want to let you know that I've spent a lot of time researching effective conversation. If you struggle to make effective conversations, get a copy of my free report, The 5 Biggest Mistakes in English Conversation. Discover what it takes to have an effective conversation. Next up, intonation and stress. While listening for sound patterns, there's another powerful trick native speakers use that most English learners miss completely. Ever notice how changing your voice can completely transform what you're saying? A single sentence can have many meanings without changing a single word. The magic is in which word gets the stress. The sentence, "I didn't say he stole the money," can have 7 completely different meanings just by changing which word you emphasize. 7 meanings from the exact same 7 words. This is the musical side of English that textbooks rarely explain. English is a stress-timed language. The important words get emphasized. They're louder, longer, and higher in pitch, while the less important words get squashed and reduced. This pattern isn't just for show. It's how native speakers signal which information matters the most. Here's where many conversations go wrong. If you don't catch which word got the stress, you might respond to something the speaker never actually meant. It's like having 2 different conversations. My student once thought his boss was angry at him when she said, "I need this report today." But she was actually just specifying which report she wanted. Notice how the meaning changes. "I like coffee" suggests I enjoy coffee, as opposed to I hate it. But "I like coffee" means coffee is my preferred drink. It's my favorite drink. I don't like tea or soda. Same words, different emphasis, totally different meaning. "I didn't say he stole the money" means someone else did the stealing. But "I didn't say he stole the money" means he stole something else, maybe jewelry or a car. Each stressed word creates completely different meaning. Let's practice together. Say this sentence, putting stress on a different word each time. "She told him the truth yesterday." When you stress "she," it means she was the one who told him. She told him the truth yesterday. Stress "told" and suddenly It suggests she directly told him. She told him yesterday. Stress yesterday, and the timing becomes the focus. Intonation patterns do even more work in English. A rising tone signals a question or a surprise. Really? A falling tone usually means you're making a statement or giving a command. These pitch changes are like secret codes that carry emotional meaning. Think of English like your favorite song. It has a rhythm with strong and weak beats. The stressed words are the strong beats, and everything else gets quieter. This musical quality helps native speakers process speech more quickly by highlighting what matters. When you listen to English speakers, pay attention to which words they make louder or longer. And that's where the real message is. The stressed word is like a spotlight, showing exactly what the speaker wants you to focus on. Finally, sentence fragments. That spotlight on stressed words is just the beginning of what makes English sound natural. Here's something that might completely surprise you. Native speakers constantly bend one of the most basic grammar rules you learned in school. And they do it on purpose. Remember those complete sentences your English teacher always insisted you use? Well, in real conversation, native speakers throw that rule out the window completely. They use incomplete sentences all the time, and that's what actually makes them sound fluent. Let's look at what's really happening. When someone says, going to the store, need anything? They're using sentence fragments. These incomplete sentences are missing subjects or verbs, but work perfectly in conversation because they're quick and efficient. In fast-moving talks, saying, I am going to the store. Do you need anything? Adds words without adding meaning. Fragments create that natural conversation rhythm. When I chat with friends, we use them constantly. Great movie. Totally agree. Worth seeing again. It's like texting a friend. Why type complete sentences when shorter messages feel more natural? You hear short fragments everywhere. No way. Maybe tomorrow. Sounds good. Native speakers also drop subjects when they're obvious. Watched that news show last night. Absolutely loved it. Even without the word I, everyone understands who did the watching. Want to make your English sound more natural? Try transforming things like, I will call you tomorrow into, will call you tomorrow, or simply, call you tomorrow. How much more casual and friendly does that sound? The real skill is knowing when to use fragments and when to use complete sentences. Fragments shine in casual, everyday conversations and quick text messages, while responses to questions may require a more formal tone, and complete sentences are completely needed. But you'll want complete sentences during job interviews, academic writing, formal presentations, and professional business communications. What's fascinating is that using fragments isn't lazy English. It shows advanced fluency. When you're comfortable enough to know which words you can skip while still being understood, you've reached a new level of natural speaking. Think of formal grammar like wearing a business suit. It's perfect for certain occasions, but at a beach party, you'd look stiff and uncomfortable. Fragments are your casual clothes, perfect for everyday situations where you're connecting with people, and that matters more than following every grammar rule perfectly. By bending these rules thoughtfully, your English will sound effortless and natural, just like a native speaker. So, we've looked at these 6 features that make English sound natural: contractions, reductions, linking, elision, intonation, and fragments. Each one builds on the other, creating that authentic sound that you're aiming for. Now what? Good news. This isn't some mysterious talent that only native speakers possess. Dr. Julian Northbrook explains, native speakers don't speak in words. They speak in chunks, not individual words and grammar. And this key insight explains why native speakers speak the way they do. Look for my 2 episodes on chunks and chunking to get a better understanding of this idea. After you have watched these 2 episodes, you can spend 15 minutes daily with podcasts, shadow TV dialogue, or record yourself speaking in chunks. Not just passive listening, active engagement. Understanding fast speech comes through consistent exposure and practice. Your brain gradually recognizes these patterns until they become second nature. It requires a shift in your thinking. Traditional learning emphasizes memorizing lists of vocabulary, grammar rules, and correct answers. Real conversations rely on using your brain to think of answers and not use memorized answers. So instead of trying to memorize lists of random words that you will never use, listen and learn words that you hear in real conversations and start using them. Notice how native speakers use idioms and chunks in their conversation and copy that. You will improve your everyday conversation much more quickly. When you start learning anything, it will seem difficult. However, as you practice these techniques, they will become easier if you stick to it. What seems impossible today will soon feel effortless, and your journey to natural, fluent English is just beginning. It's Herbert Lee wishing you a conversation breakthrough after listening to this video. Bye for now, and come back for more practical and useful techniques.